Last month, that is in July 2023, China's economy went into deflation. In this video, I'm going to explain what deflation is, how the Chinese economy went into deflation, and what are the reasons behind it. First, let me explain quickly what exactly deflation is. You must have heard about inflation. Inflation means a price rise. When prices of goods and services increases significantly, that is called inflation. Now, deflation is the opposite of inflation. That is, decline in the prices of goods and services. Now, always remember this point. When deflation happens, that is when prices are decreasing and people can buy more with their money because the value of their money is increasing. Now, you may think this is great. If prices of goods and services are decreasing, then it's a good thing. Probably you can buy anything you want. But this is where you have to understand that even if the prices of goods and services are low, you still need money to buy things. If you don't have enough money, then the idea of having low prices is not something that will excite you. So, money being at the root of everything, deflation can have both positive and negative effects on an economy. Because try to understand this, deflation will make goods and services cheaper, which can help consumers and businesses. But on the other hand, if you look at it from a business perspective, in order to remain profitable, businesses will have to cut costs. Only then selling something at a cheaper price will give them profit. When businesses cut their cost, it often leads to job losses. If there are job losses, then how will you have enough money to buy anything, even if the prices of goods and services are low? So I hope you are able to understand this vicious cycle. Now let me also give you some reasons why deflation happens. Number 1. Suppose the government of a country is not injecting enough money into the market through investments, schemes, and jobs. In simple words, there is a decrease in the money supply. So if you see there is less money in the economy, then naturally prices will tend to fall. Try to imagine yourself as a shop owner. If people are not buying things because they can't afford to, what will you do? You can't let your goods products rot. So you will reduce their price in the hope that people would buy them. Even then, very few people will buy because there is less money supply in the market. There is less money in the hands of the people. So one reason is decrease in the money supply can lead to deflation. Point number 2. Now suppose that enough money supply is in the market, government is investing and creating jobs, etc. Even then, let's say people are not buying as many goods and services as they used to. Then this will also cause prices to fall. Now this is highly unlikely to happen because if you have more money in your hands, then it is very rare that your consumption will reduce. Usually we get to see opposite. People's spending increases. But nevertheless, this point is worth mentioning just to understand the theoretical concept. Point number 3. Now there is a third way of reducing prices of goods and services. That is when there is an increase in productivity. For example, if businesses become more efficient, they can produce more goods and services with the same amount of input, which can lead to lower prices. Again, this is also very highly unlikely to happen. So to understand deflation in a very simple way, always remember that demand and supply are two important factors of any market. If supply increases, then also the prices will go down, and similarly if demand decreases, then also the prices will go down. But usually it is seen that there are ways to manage excessive supply without having to reduce prices. What governments are doing is they are maintaining domestic prices of a good without reducing the prices even when there is excess supply. Governments export the excess supply to other countries and earn more profit. This way you can make an economy grow even faster because now you are making profit both domestically and internationally. That means if supply increases, then the prices have to go down. This need not be mandatory because there are ways of earning profit. Then we are only left with one option, which is decrease in demand. The major reason behind decreasing demand is not having enough money in the hands of the consumer. Today you will see all the advertisements on television and on the internet is focusing on how to spend, but no one is talking about earning or job creation. This is something that every country's government is struggling with. Be it a developed or developing country, the story is the same. Now that you have understood what deflation is and how it happens, we will now try to understand how China's economy went into deflation. As you know, China's economic growth has slowed significantly in recent years, especially since 2015. Let me point out major events on this graph. Number 1. China's population is aging rapidly, and this is putting a strain on the economy. The working age population is shrinking, which means that there are very few people to contribute to economic growth. That is why China officially ended its one-child policy on January 1, 2016, which was implemented in 1980. And then in 2021, you must have heard that the Chinese Communist Party has announced that it would allow couples to have up to 3 children. So these kind of population control policies are being relaxed for only one reason, so that more and more young people join the workforce. Point number 2. You can recollect that in July 2018, during Donald Trump's presidency, China and the United States trade war began. I even have a video on it. Do watch it to understand everything in detail. Anyhow, if you remember, the United States had imposed tariffs on $34 billion worth of Chinese imports. Then China retaliated with tariffs of $34 billion worth of American imports. This kept happening and had a significant impact on the economies of both countries. This also led to inflation, job losses, and uncertainty for businesses. Because of this trade war, relations between the United States and China started deteriorating, and also their economies took a nasty beating. Point number 3. Then, as you know, in 2020, COVID pandemic happened. It started in a place called Wuhan in China. Because of that, the entire world started criticizing China, and that had a significant impact on China's economy. As you are aware, the Chinese economy heavily relies on exports. Because of the pandemic, production and supply chains got disrupted, which led to a decline in consumer spending, and China's export reduced significantly. Point number 4. Again in 2022, Russia-Ukraine war started. As you know, the whole West collectively started putting numerous sanctions on Russia. China has been indirectly affected by the economic sanctions imposed on Russia, because these sanctions have made it more difficult for Chinese businesses to trade with Russia, and they have also led to a decline in the value of the Russian ruble. This has made it more expensive for China to import goods from Russia, and it has also made it more difficult for Russian businesses to repay their debts to Chinese lenders. Due to this conflict, there was an increase in energy prices all over the world. China is a major importer of oil and gas, and the war has disrupted supply chains and led to higher prices. This has put a strain on China's economy, and it has also made it more difficult for Chinese businesses to operate. And then, as you know, China has refused to condemn Russia and United Nations over the Ukraine conflict. In fact, China provided military assistance to Russia. This led to political tensions between China and the West. So these 4 events are major milestones that have contributed to the gradual decline of China's economic growth in recent years. There are 2 more important points. The 5th point is regarding Chinese housing market or property market crisis. Although it started in 2015, the actual time started much before, and even today you will get to see it affecting the Chinese economy. The Chinese Communist Party started encouraging people to invest in real estate for many years in the hope to stimulate the economy, promoting social stability and create jobs. As a result, there was a significant oversupply of housing in China. Now the question is why there was an oversupply. Because people were buying homes not to live in them, but to sell them for a profit. Then in 2015, the Chinese Communist government began to tighten lending standards in an effort to cool the overheated market. This made it more difficult for people to buy homes, which led to a decline in demand. The decline in demand led to a decline in prices, which caused a number of developers to default on their loans. This led to a further decline in prices and a loss of confidence in the market. The housing market crisis created a ripple effect throughout the Chinese economy. It has also led to a decline in investment, job losses, and a slowdown in economic growth. And the 6th point that also contributed to China's economic downturn is when the Chinese Communist government cracked down on the tech sectors that began in early 2020. It was initiated by President Xi Jinping because the Chinese Communist government had serious concerns about the power and influence of the country's tech giants. In other words, the Chinese government was asserting its control over the tech sector to prevent it from becoming too powerful. If you remember, the Chinese Communist government conducted antitrust investigations into a number of tech giants, including Alibaba, Tencent, and ByteDance. These investigations have led to fines and other penalties for the companies. Then the government has also imposed data regulations and censorship on these companies regarding content and data usage. The government also imposed restrictions on foreign investment in China's tech sector so that foreign companies could not control sensitive technology. So this kind of crackdown by the Chinese Communist government on China's tech sector had a significant impact on the Chinese economy. It led to a decline in investment and innovation in the tech sector. It has also led to job losses and a slowdown in economic growth. If you see, all these 6 events that I discussed collectively made the matter worse for China's economy.